I don't know why we still use that intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to TBN. It's called TBN now. It used to be called a bunch of other things, but now it's TBN. Just moving forward. Welcome to TBN. What we do on TBN here is we kind of unpack some news as it relates to the world of vaping. What we do, vaping, tobacco control, cigarettes, harm reduction, nicotine, and the such as. That's what we talk about. I am your libertarian, freedom-loving host, Grim Green, now joined by my far left fact checker, Danielle Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Woo!
Socialism for all, bitches.
Woo! Medicare for all. Woo! Welcome, Danielle. How are you doing? How's your week?
Oh, it's good. I'm making a lot of soap products.
Just soaping it up. Just
no. My Instagram is
soapy.
lit with soap and lotion, you guys.
I just imagine that your house smells really good.
Oh, it does.
Yeah,
Trust me.
that's
My husband will walk in and be like, peppermint? You know?
Peppermint?
Yesterday it was something called night violet.
I love that.
Last
Night
week it was
violet.
oatmeal milk and honey. It's great. It smells amazing.
You want to smell like night violet? Well, that's awesome. Soap. Love soap. Love a good smelling soapy house. My week was like normal. I feel like weeks are just weeks now. Just one after the other, one after the other. Like last week, we streamed and we did the vlog, and then I shot reviews, and then it was Monday again, and now we're here. So that
I just break my weeks up by scent. Like last week was night violet. This week nothing else happens. The rest is normal, but scents are different.
Yeah. See, that's still a date marker. Well, welcome, you guys. I appreciate you being here. We're going to talk about news. We're going to talk about advocacy. We're going to defend our right to access a less harmful alternative than cigarettes. We're going to, what's my favorite thing? Discredit the myth-making machine. Man, that's one of my favorite things. We're going to talk a little bit about World Health Organization. Yeah. You know, this is the conversation we were having shortly before the stream, is like the World Health Organization is great for a lot of stuff. And then there's things like tobacco control recommendations where you just go, what age are you living in? They have this really archaic prohibitionist stance on everything. It's not realistic. It drives me insane. Not to mention Tedros, the head of the World Health Organization, not such a great guy. Not really the greatest guy. If you I'm not going to air all his dirty laundry out here on the internet, but you can easily Google around and see what he's done in the past, like when he was the health minister of Ethiopia, covered up a cholera outbreak. Yeah, that happened. That's just a thing that happened. Recorded history. And now he's the head of the World Health Organization. So fantastic. We're going to talk about the World Health Organization a little bit of news out of California. I got a Reason article about flavor bans that I am dying to read. It's just fantastic. We do have a new head of the CDC that I wanted to chat about a little bit. And then if we have time, our good friend, I don't know, I'm trying to be sarcastic, ally of the vape industry, Mike Bloomberg, well, he might have broken some laws. He might have broken some international laws and some U.S. laws by giving a lot of money to the FDA in the Philippines. Don't worry, there's things happening, and we're going to read all about it. But welcome, you guys. I guess the first thing I want to say is the usual suspects of links is going to be down in the description. These are just a cluster of links that I really, really like, and I feel like they're really, really important. They include things like CASAW, the Canadian Vaping Association, the Cochrane Library. It includes the U.S. Vape Consumer Survey, the eSig Intelligence U.S. Vape Consumer Survey. Yeah. And how long is that going for, Danielle Jones?
It's still going on. They're trying to hit a certain number of responses, and they haven't gotten there yet. So you guys, truly, seriously, if you have not filled out the survey yet, please take like 10 minutes to do it, because they're still trying to hit this like magic number of responses, and we're not there yet. So please, if you've already done it, tell any vaping friends, put it in your Facebook groups. Yeah. Like, we need more responses.
Share it,
please.
Share it, and share it frequently. You know, it's one of those things where even on social media, everything's just, whizzing by your eyes. It's like, what did you even see? It's just a picture. Nope, keep going. What's it, keep going. And it'll just whiz right by someone and they might not even see it. So post it a bunch. I mean, don't spam it, but you have to post things consistently. And, that's just the way that social media is. We have short attention spans and news just kind of flashes by us. And it happens all the time, and people will ask me, oh, when are you releasing that RTA? And I'm like, oh, it came out like a month ago. Oh, I didn't see any news. It's like, well, I mean, I tried to spam it everywhere I could, but even that, like, some people missed it. So be a little bit relentless with this eSig Intelligence U.S. Consumer Vape Survey. So I'll have a cluster of links down there that I highly suggest everybody check out. They change a little bit from time to time, but for the most part, they remain like my usual suspects cluster of really good advocacy and information links. And those are all going to be down in the description down there as well. I guess real quickly, there was some news. I feel like we've talked about this already, but maybe we haven't. California's ban on flavored tobacco sales blocked as a referendum qualifies for the ballot. So This was basically what it says. California collected signatures for people against the California flavor ban. And the idea was, if you can get enough signatures, which it's a lot of signatures. How many signatures was it?
It's like over 500,000.
It was 600,000, something like that, signatures. So if we could get 600,000 signatures, then there's no flavor ban, and then the flavor ban gets moved to a ballot initiative that the people of California get to vote on.
Right.
And I have high hopes for this because even just the signatures, California tries to have a flavor ban. 600,000 people in the state go, no, we don't want that. That right there is a show of numbers. And I think that right there should be enough for lawmakers to take maybe just a second. Maybe I'm being too optimistic with lawmakers, right? Maybe.
Unfortunately.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, there are ballot initiatives that get enough signatures but don't get the votes, right? Because there's a lot more than 600,000 people in the state of California. So yeah, it's a good show of something. Yeah. But they're still gonna, we still need the entire state to vote on it.
Yes, so we do need the whole state.
Fall of 2022.
Yeah, 2022. So 2 more years of.
No, next year.
2022. Yeah.
This is 2021 now. So
one more year. Okay.
Yeah. A year and a half-ish.
I'm still living in 2020, I guess.
I know. We all are, right?
Yes. Sacramento, California, a law banning the sale of flavored tobacco products was placed on hold Friday after state officials said a referendum by the tobacco industry qualified for the November 2022 ballot. This was a referendum by the tobacco industry, correct? They're not wrong there.
No, they're not wrong. They did the funding for it.
They did the funding for it. How much funding? I mean, is this a huge chunk of change to have a signature, like a signatory thing out there?
I don't have exact numbers for you, but it is not cheap.
Yeah.
I do know that. I believe it is millions of dollars.
Yes.
Is my understanding for signature stuff. I don't have exact stuff, but it's not a cheap thing.
It's a sad day for California when the money of big tobacco is able to delay the inevitable. Wow. Delay the inevitable. It's like, look, we're going to ban these anyway.
Right here.
I know. Why would Senator Jerry Hill is a jerk. It's a sad day for California when the money of big tobacco is able to delay the inevitable while continuing to addict and kill more Californians, said former state Senator Jerry Hill. Jerry Hill is no fan of vaping. Jerry Hill has been a bane of my existence in California for years and years and years. Jerry Hill has been trying to ban vaping in California since 2013, 2014. He was really early on. In fact, I remember Jerry Hill in 2014 talking about nicotine poisonings. This was the discussion.
I think that was before my time.
California needs to ban vaping because of potential nicotine poisonings, because nicotine poisonings went up, markedly up in a single year. And Jerry Hill introduced legislation that never made it all the way through. But he's been trying forever. He hates vaping. Hates vaping.
He's not alone.
No, he's not alone. In California, it's like, what politician? I haven't seen a politician with the exception of the guy that got arrested. What was his name?
Oh, God. Hunter.
Was his name Hunter?
Wasn't it something
Hunter?
Huntsman? Was it?
Huntsman.
I feel like it was something. There was
He
Hunt
was
in
the
there
vaping
somewhere,
congressman.
Yeah,
what
yeah,
was his
yeah. I know who
name?
you're talking- He like went to jail, right?
Yeah.
The guy that went to jail. I think it was like Huntsman or Hunt.
Duncan Hunter.
Hunter. There we go. Okay,
There
I
he
had it
is.
initially.
Duncan Hunter.
Yeah.
He's the first like California politician I've ever seen that was like in favor of vaping. So this is a thing. It's in place. This is hopefully, I mean, this is qualifying for a ballot initiative for 2022. This effectively delays the flavor ban one other full year. Of course, the flavor ban was signed by Gavin Newsom, who we're all big fans of Gavin Newsom here in California. It's great. I love it when he tells me that I can't go to restaurants and then he goes to a restaurant. That's my favorite.
Well, now
thing.
we're opened back up. Did you hear about this?
I saw that. We're back to the tiered system now.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm getting whiplash from all these systems that we're in.
It's heartbreaking, especially for California businesses. I don't know. I don't want to go on a COVID lockdown rant. I hate that there's...
I'm so neutral on it because I understand both sides of it, and I don't know what the right answer is. I just don't know what the right answer is.
The right answer is for not hypocrisy across the board. You can't tell a restaurant owner that you have to close and then you can open, but you have to retrofit your restaurant with outdoor dining. So they spend all this money on outdoor dining and then shut them down again, only to have another, some other company move in and then have outdoor dining that's allowed, but you're not allowed. There's these weird double standards for
I
people,
don't agree with that.
And it makes me insane, and I hate it. And there's no consistency. And Gavin Newsom, like telling everybody that we're on a lockdown state and not to go out and not to hang out with your friends and don't go to dining and don't do this. And then like a week later, he's in a restaurant with a bunch of strangers.
Hypocrisy.
No masks.
Has no defense.
Oh,
no.
Come on, Gavin.
Practice what you preach, people. Like,
Practice what
you preach. I
understand,
the things that he says, and like, I mean, I do those things. Like, I don't go out, I don't do things, I don't, and I understand why. I still try to support my local businesses. We still like get carry out food, and I'm still trying to like, help, but I'm also like not seeing people. So I understand, but if you need to do it also, like, don't tell people not to do something and then go out and do it. Like, what? Have you ever heard of a cell phone camera? Like, stop it. Like,
I know. This is all easily...
You think you're going to get away with this in 2021? Nope. Like, come on, bro.
You're not. You're definitely not. Oh, thank you, Addie Tooney, for throwing that link in the chat for the Netherlands. Ethra. I'll get that link into the description down below because there is a proposed flavor ban in the Netherlands as well. Just completely out of the blue. The Netherlands has been fine with vaping, but suddenly it's like, nope, we're going to have a flavor ban, nationwide flavor ban. Spectacular. So we get another year of flavors in California. I guess, I don't know exactly how that works. Can vape shops be open in California?
That's a whole other can of worms, right? That's COVID stuff, and I don't even pretend to understand that. Like, I think I can go get my eyebrows waxed now, so I'm going to try that. I
think I can get a haircut soon, so...
Well, my husband, he's like, I need a haircut.
Or I might just not. I might just go full Gandalf and just
ponytail.
Long,
what if you just gotta do it?
I know, right? I feel like I would feel distinguished with a gray ponytail. Is distinguished the right word I'm looking for?
Yeah,
I don't know. Okay.
For sure.
I don't know if that's the right word I'm looking for there. So that's what's happening in California. I'll throw a link down in the description to the Los Angeles Times where you can read about it and then get mad at the end because there's a quote from Matt Myers talking about how this is a battle between the people of California and big tobacco over the health, lives, and future of our kids. Over the health, lives, and future of our kids. Yep.
It's always the kids.
Always the kids, Matt Myers. It's always the kids with you. So moving on from that, I wanted to mention this too. Azim Chowdhury posted out this tweet about tomorrow, Wednesday. Can I
27?
Can I put this on the screen right there? Hell yeah, I can. This is tomorrow the 27th. An overview of the PACT Act. And describe what this change in the law will mean for the future of online or delivery sales of e-cigarettes. It's a webinar, and you can sign up and be a part of this webinar. I think our very own Danielle Jones signed up to be part of this webinar.
I did, and it's geared towards businesses, you guys. I mean, I'm sure anybody can attend, but this is really supposed to be a thing, sort of advising or interpreting or something, trying to kind of help out the businesses for like what you're going to need to do and what does this mean and how is this being interpreted and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see what they have to say.
Yeah.
So I signed up for it. It's free as far as I'm aware. Nobody's asked me for a credit card for anything. So
no, everything's gone. Yeah. And this is, I think this will be really, really good for business owners just because I would like to watch this, and I'm not a business owner. If I had a stake, like if I had a shop or an online store, I would 100% be into watching this. In fact, there's another one too that maybe is a little bit more geared toward consumers. There's an e-liquid company in Michigan, Mr. E-Liquid, and they're still around. I mean, against all odds in Michigan, they're still around, but they have a YouTube where the owners basically of Mr. E-Liquid kind of broke down in about 12 minutes what the PACT Act means for like retail shops and wholesaling and some of the old practices that used to happen, like getting liquids from other shops and things like this aren't allowed anymore. And it's a real kind of sticky surface to navigate.
Well, yeah, the PACT Act controls everything.
Everything.
So that they can track and keep track of everything like they do with cigarettes to make sure you don't have it being sold illegally and all this. It's crazy bureaucracy, basically.
Crazy bureaucracy. But I'll post a link down in the description to that YouTube video as well from Mr. E-Liquid talking about the vape mail ban, the PACT Act. It's just a lot of stuff to deal with. This was a really good video, I thought, and I'll just throw it. I'll just throw it down there in the description. What else? Let's talk about. We have a new director of the CDC, you guys. New director, new year, new administration, new director. So it's kind of just page one, right? We don't know where this is going to go, what's going to happen, but she has been on Twitter, and I wanted to share this. She's tweeted this on Twitter. Now, here's one thing that I think is weird too. The CDC director Twitter account doesn't follow the CDC director when they leave.
Right.
And so this new CDC director, it's just her name and picture on this old account.
Right.
And that is really bizarre to me because if you go back to tweets like from a year ago, it looks like this doctor is tweeting this thing when she did not. So how does that work for fact checking or journalism? If you go back, if someone's doing some expose on EVALI and they go back to the CDC director's Twitter and they go, CDC director, during EVALI, you said this. She goes, no, that wasn't me. It's like, well, it's right here on Twitter. Now what?
I guess you have to be a smart enough journalist to know you need to look at the date and then make sure which CDC director it was.
I know. I feel like that's just asking for confusion, though. I feel like that is just welcoming confusion.
Yeah, I can see it on multiple fronts. Like, they have a couple options, right? You could make a new account every time, but that's like, then how do people find it and like all the things? And then, or I think what some people sometimes do is like delete all previous tweets,
right,
but then is
that
like technically destroying?
Yeah, I feel like that is.
You know, yeah. So it's like, what do you do? Like, Twitter should give them a special account where you can like have the name and like picture from like certain time periods. You know what I mean? Like, it should be a fancy account, not a normal people account where you can track that shit.
Fancy account. That's just that's what we need is classism on Twitter. You have a better Twitter account than I do. We should all have the same Twitter account, you far left socialist. Damn it.
Wait, shouldn't I be arguing that? And
exactly. Yeah, see?
None of this makes sense, you guys.
None of this makes any sense, except we do have a new CDC director. Her name is Rochelle Walensky. And the first tweet that she did as CDC director was this tweet. It says, as CDC.gov director, I promise to work with my colleagues to harness the power of science and confront ongoing public health challenges like COVID-19, mental health, substance use, health disparities, and chronic conditions. And I saw that and I went, harness the power of science.
Sounds good.
Harness, that sounds great. That sounds like everything I want.
Though?
Right. Which science though? Which science though? The harness the power of science. And even if you leave that part of the equation out of it, like whose science? She's not, Stanton Glantz science versus Royal College of Physicians or Public Health England or But the fact is, she did say she's going to harness the power of science to confront ongoing public health challenges. I thought that instantly made me go, oh, okay. That's not terrible. Her first
tweet. That's a good thing for the director of the CDC to say.
Yeah, right. I feel like, it's very just a big blanket statement. There's no real specifics or anything. But at least her first tweet wasn't, as CDC director, I promise after the COVID-19 pandemic to laser focus on the youth vaping epidemic. Like that wasn't her first tweet.
Yeah, that
and I'll take that as a win, right?
Right.
So she had another tweet here that says, America and the world are relying on CDC.gov's scientific, fact-based information and leadership. Science is the cornerstone of CDC's work. All public health decisions are based on the highest quality scientific information that is openly and objectively attained. That's a pretty solid tweet.
Yeah.
That's not just, I feel like that's much less lip service and much more like saying, this is how seriously we take science.
Right.
Highest quality scientific information. So I've been trying to exchange some pleasant tweets with CDC director. I replied to that tweet and left her the Cochrane Library thing. And I said, I'm so excited to hear you talk about this. I'm glad CDC is going after science like this. You guys are going to love this nicotine vaping science. We can reduce cigarette smoking even further. And I left her the Cochrane study. So I've been trying to and with that PPI, the Progressive Policy Institute, here, CDC director, here's another thing. See how pleasant I'm being? Look at this science. Welcome, CDC director, because I don't want to just instantly have that vapor knee-jerk reaction of I
hostility.
Bet you're just as corrupt as,
Yeah,
MSA blood money, You can't take that approach always.
I'm so sorry. I know that's a lot of vapors, and I love you guys dearly.
You can't take that
approach. I made the MSA
always.
Video, but you have to know your audience and who you're talking to, and you also have to read the room a little bit, right?
There's a big
MSA blood money isn't for all conversations, you know. No, read the room. You know.
Yeah, exactly. You read the room, and it's different between if I'm talking to Dwayne or Kent and I say fucking MSA blood money, then that's different than hey, Gavin Newsom, CDC, MSA blood money. And so I'm trying to be reasonable because I feel like she's a reasonable person. She's a doctor. She's talking about how this is the cornerstone of CDC science and high quality scientific information. And I'm thinking there's not much more high quality than the Cochrane Library. And I feel like as being who she is and now being the director of the CDC, she should be well aware of the Cochrane Library, right?
One would hope, yes.
Right? She has to be familiar with that. So I don't know. I don't know where this goes, up or down, sideways. No one can tell right now. It's interesting starting with a new, administration, new CDC director. We're going to have a new Surgeon General. We're going to have maybe a new head of the FDA. Stephen Hahn, I don't know.
I
haven't heard anything about FDA. I know there's going to be a new head of HHS. Azar's out.
Yeah, Azar resigned, right?
Azar resigned. So it's kind of a mixed bag of I'm nervous, but I'm also I'm trying to be a little bit optimistic, thinking
hope. Is there any hope?
Yeah,
here?
hope. I have hope. I have little bits of hope here and there, especially with the new CDC director, especially with you know, I mean, I don't want to give Biden too much credit, but his science rhetoric, at least that he uses, is a little bit more comforting than the previous administrations. That's what I'll say.
I would tend to agree with that.
But if we're going to go into this direction of science, then I say bring it on, because that can only benefit us, because we have literally mountains of it.
We have lots of science.
We have so much. We have a lot, and more keeps happening. Mm-hmm. You know, more keeps happening. Peer-reviewed science, as Rochelle Walensky says, high-quality scientific information. So, new CDC director. If you want to hang out with her on Twitter, I just started following her. You can follow her at CDC director. I feel like if you're in this space and you're wanting to be an advocate on Twitter and the interwebs, following the CDC director is an excellent decision to make. Mm-hmm. IMO. You get a lot of good stuff out of there. So yeah, new CDC director. Like I said, I'm both optimistic and pessimistic and a little bit worried, but also a little bit optimistic and a little bit, it's like, yeah.
Hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Yeah. Hope for the best, plan for the worst, right? Speaking of planning for the worst, the World Health Organization, as far as their stance on tobacco control, it's just dumb. It's just the dumbest thing ever. World Health Organization has never really been on board with vaping. At least, like in a public, they've never
not that I've seen
announced or said on Twitter, hey, vaping is almost twice as effective as any NRT on the market. They've never said anything like that. They did. Do you remember they had some study or paper that they did where they begrudgingly at the bottom of this paper kind of admitted like there is some credibility to the idea that vaping can switch you off of combustible tobacco cigarettes, and it was like buried at the bottom, and it's like it's just a shameful little thing that we don't want to admit, but we have to print it, but we're not going to admit it. It's just going to be down here buried at the bottom, like by their own words that vaping works, you know.
But then they go on Twitter and they're like, e-liquid is flammable.
Yeah.
And you're like...
I know. You just go, what? What are you talking about, World Health Organization?
Who wrote this?
Yeah, that's
are you high?
Demonstrably false. Demonstrably false that e-liquid isn't. And you know,
like so many people tried, right? There was like the WHO challenge where they're like, let's try to light it on fire.
I did it. I tried everything. I said, well, maybe it needs to be in like vapor form. Maybe the vapor's flammable. No, vapor's not flammable. The liquid's not flammable. No. Wow. I am shocked that a completely water-soluble liquid isn't flammable. What? Crazy, no. World Health Organization. And
chemistry?
Chemistry? What's chemistry? Just skip chemistry class, Dr. Tedros? Tedros, can't pronounce your last name, World Health Organization? And it's just a weird place, personally, to be in 2021 ragging on certain aspects of the World Health Organization. You know,
I know.
You grow up your whole life. I mean, 5 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that I would be ranting on a tirade about the World Health Organization. You know,
let alone the CDC.
I know, CDC, World Health Organization. I didn't think I'd ever be mad at the American Heart Association. No. But here we are. Mm-hmm. And I know you've said this in your something, like once trusted organizations, right? Mm-hmm. And they still are worthy of some trust.
It depends on the topic, right? We were talking about this. Like when it comes to the WHO, like WHO, do your thing on like polio and malaria and Ebola. Like go forth.
Yes.
Cure us of these, go vaccinate the people. Like do the thing. But on tobacco, like maybe stop that.
Yeah.
Maybe stop that.
Just lay off the prohibition gas pedal. They've just got that thing floored into prohibition land.
It's like we were talking about, like, yes, I advise the people of the world that smoking is not good for your health and that it is in their best interest for their health to stop smoking. Advise them of those facts. But do not try to micromanage them. Do not try to control them.
Shame
and do
them.
not try to force them to do anything or control how they go about doing it.
Right.
All we should care about is that hopefully more people stop smoking, because smoking can lead to diseases that lead to death.
Yeah.
How they do it is not your business.
Yeah,
okay?
how anybody quits smoking is not the World Health Organization's business. The World Health Organization should just ask, "Oh, did you quit smoking? Oh, you did? Great. Great." If you ask someone, "Oh, you were a smoker? Oh, you quit smoking? How'd you quit? Gum? Great.
Super.
And you quit?
Hypnosis?
Great.
Terrific.
Cool.
Whatever it is.
I'm really glad that worked for you. I quit with vaping. But the one thing that we have in common is we don't smoke anymore. The World Health Organization told us not to do this.
And we wanted to do the best thing for our health. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's what should be happening, right?
Yes.
Advise on the facts. Do not try to control the situation.
Period. That's it. And I've said the same thing about FDA. I think FDA should only regulate things for the safety of the thing and not the safety of the effects of the thing. Right? These should be regulated for safety, electrical safety, battery safety, sure, sharp things and stuff like that, and it should be a safe product. But beyond that, what goes in it, I don't think the FDA, I mean, obviously we want that to be safe, but that's where it should end.
Right. It should be safe, right?
Should be safe, and then that's it.
Make sure the things that are sold are safe.
Make sure the thing is safe.
Snake oil. They're not telling you they're going to grow you a third eye when they're not going to.
Right.
Manage that base level stuff. Other than that,
that's it. Stay out of my business. Stay out of my business, FDA. So what we're going to read about right now from the World Health Organization is, from what I could tell, this is something that the World Health Organization does every year. This is a report on meetings of expert committees and study groups. And this is put out by the Director General of the World Health Organization. And so, like I said, I believe this is something that they do every year. I found these going back to like 1982, 1983, the report meeting of expert committees, yada, yada, so forth. And what it is, it's basically that. It's the report on the meetings of expert committees, and they cover all sorts of health-related topics. So they cover things like food and food safety and food additives and drug safety and biological safety and recommendations for this and recommendations for food and recommendations for public health. And then if you get all the way down here on the last page of this report, tobacco product regulation. These are their recommendations for tobacco control. I mean, I'm assuming globally, right? Worldwide. World Health Organization? That makes sense to me.
That would make sense.
World Health Organization. Now, I don't know if we're going to see a lot of surprises on what the World Health Organization recommends. Main recommendations. The main recommendations to policymakers and other interested parties include, but are not limited to, wait till you see this rabbit hole we're going to go down. The main focus on evidence-based measures to reduce tobacco use as outlined in the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, and seek to avoid being distracted from these actions by the promotion of novel tobacco products such as heated tobacco products. So basically that their first recommendation is to only listen to us. Only listen to us. Use the World Health Organization framework on tobacco control. Use these rules and don't be distracted by these other less harmful things. Focus only on our tobacco control framework. Don't be distracted by harm reduction. Basically what they're saying. To use existing regulations for tobacco products to regulate heated tobacco products, including the device, and consider broadening the scope of existing regulations where regulatory loopholes may be exploited by the tobacco industry, including countries in which these tobacco products are not currently legally available. Again, essentially what this is saying, and I'm going to try to do this every time and I might get it wrong, but essentially what I think this is saying is they want you to use the existing World Health Organization framework of tobacco control to regulate things that aren't tobacco. They want to use this framework to regulate vapor products, and they want to use this rigid framework to regulate heated tobacco products.
So even though the products change, you should still keep using the old tools.
Still keep using the old way.
There's no need to upgrade any of your knowledge or tools. Even though this is totally different, just keep doing what we've been telling you to do.
Just keep doing. Yep. And then they talk about including countries in which these tobacco products are not legally available. So this is like preemptive banning. Like they want to go to Turkey, where vaping isn't legal yet, and pre-ban it so that it can never be allowed there.
Or where heat not burn hasn't entered the market
yet.
Right,
where heat not burn hasn't entered the market yet. They want to preemptively, like, World Health Organization, no heat not burn. Cigarettes are fine. Heat not burn, no. Hard stop.
Yep.
Oh, it gets better, Cherokee Vapor. It gets better. To apply the most restrictive tobacco control regulations to heated tobacco products, including the device, as appropriate within national laws, taking into account the need for a high level of protection for human health. So basically what this is saying is use the same framework of tobacco control to heated tobacco products, including the device, no matter what the harms are of it, because this is needed to protect human health. We need to ban a harm reduction product, apply restrictive tobacco control regulations on a harm reduction product to protect human health. Hey, makes sense to me, World Health Organization. Other recommendations: to prohibit all manufacturers and associated groups from making claims about reduced harm of heated tobacco products compared with other products, or portraying heated tobacco products as an appropriate approach for cessation of any tobacco product, and ban their use in public spaces unless robust, independent evidence emerges to support a change in policy. Whoa. So basically, what they're saying by this is a gag order, right? Don't let any manufacturers make any health claims about harm reduction products at all. Don't let them compare them to smoking. Don't let people portray these as an appropriate approach for cessation. If you think that your buddy can quit smoking with an IQOS, the World Health Organization says do not give him that IQOS, and you don't even get to tell him that it's a reduced harm product.
Right.
Gag order. That's what that is. Gag order. Dang, World Health Organization knocking them all out of the park. These are all great ideas, by the way. Fantastic ideas. To ensure that the public is well informed about the risks associated with the use of tobacco products, including the risks of dual use with conventional cigarettes and other smoked tobacco products, and also their use during pregnancy, to correct false perceptions, counter misinformation, and clarify that reduced exposure does not necessarily mean reduced harm. Oh. Or does reduced exposure always mean reduced harm?
I wouldn't say always.
I can't think of a time when reduced exposure doesn't translate into reduced harm.
If you've got something that's extremely deadly, a little bit or a lot is both going to kill you.
Okay, sure.
The dosage, the dosage can make the poison.
Yeah.
But some poisons are so poisonous that whether you get a little or a lot, you're all going to be dead. So they're not. That is a scientific stance, right? That not always, but
in this case,
in
most situations.
I would say in a lot, yeah.
I think it's more.
Less bad.
I think it's more often than not that reduced exposure means reduced harm. I mean, even like hypothetical I can throw in my head, I'm like, yeah, reduced exposure, reduced harm. Reduce my exposure to the sun. Don't get sunburn. Don't get skin cancer. Reduced harm.
Mm-hmm.
I reduce the exposure of my head to the pavement. That's reduced harm.
Reduced harm, yeah. A lot of times, yeah. It's not 100%, but a lot of times.
It's like 99%
they're just like, no,
of the
none
time.
of the time.
Yeah, that's kind of how it's presented, isn't it?
Wording it? Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of how it's presented. Unbelievable. What?
And
Yeah, I know.
I'm betting that that's in direct response, right, to the FDA's like MRTP,
Right.
situation
Yes.
with heat not burn in the United States, right? Because that was what they were granted.
It has to be.
IQOS was granted a reduced exposure claim, and tobacco control people were like, no. It's
But in
terrible.
that case, reduced exposure is reduced harm. If you're talking about carcinogens and combustion versus heating,
Yeah.
that is reduced harm.
I mean, I would say yes, especially with something that is like a long-term, killer versus
Right.
in short-term situations, they're probably right. But in long-term situations, yeah, reducing your harm is reducing your exposure is more than likely going to reduce your harm. Like in
Yes.
a lot of situations.
In a
So
lot of
that's just-
situations.
they're just preemptively trying to be like, here's why FDA is wrong and doesn't matter. Blech.
Right. I'm going to leave this up here because I like it, John. Way to try to stop 8 million deaths a year due to smoking, World Health Organization. Yeah. They go on. Rely on independent data to support continuing independent research on the public health impact of heated tobacco products. Sure. Along with critically analyzing and interpreting tobacco industry-funded data, including but not limited to research data pertaining to emissions and toxicity of heated tobacco products and associated exposures and effects in users and non-users. So basically, what they're saying here is use the empirical data that exists and don't trust industry-funded data, even though that's a bullshit thing to begin with because the science doesn't change, man. It doesn't change. It doesn't change based on who's funding it.
Well, I would
Assuming
argue
they're
that
doing it
can.
correctly.
I would say that it can change
Right.
and does change
It does,
based on who's
funding
But what
it.
they're not taking into the account is there's another side
does
to
do
this.
that.
It's not just, it would only be biased if it came from industry.
Right.
It can also be biased coming from tobacco control.
Yes.
Or coming from pharma.
Very.
Who has their own industry built on the failure of these products. Like there's two sides to this and you're only acknowledging one side.
Yep.
That's the problem with that argument. Yes, science can be biased based on where the funding. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes,
it
that is
can.
true.
It really can.
Now, a lot of times
Real
one
science.
One could argue that industry-funded science a lot of times is more rigorously conducted because they know they're going to be highly scrutinized because it's coming from industry.
Yes.
So one could, now that's not 100, nothing is 100% of the time, but a lot of times it can actually be a little bit to a higher standard because they know they're going to get ripped apart. So
Right.
they cross all the
Wow.
T's, dot all the I's, everything.
Yeah, that's
Again,
something
not
I-
100% of the time, but
That makes
have
a
to
lot of
consider both
sense.
sides.
That's
There's two
something,
sides.
and that's something I hadn't thought about either. Is industry-funded data. Yeah, they know they're going to be scrutinized more, so their
Right.
chances are, simplest explanation would be that they would be do their due diligence much further.
right.
Wow, that's something I really hadn't thought about. That's interesting, real interesting. But the World Health Organization doesn't stop there, Danielle Jones. There's only a few more. To require tobacco manufacturers to disclose all product information. Doesn't seem unreasonable, including product design, chemical profile, ? Don't know what that is. Total nicotine content, sure. Nicotine forms, ? Don't know what that is. Nicotine forms?
Like salt versus freebase.
Freebase?
Like, is that what we're talking about?
I
Okay,
guess.
fine. I get okay.
Toxicity, other findings of product testing and testing methods to appropriate regulatory agencies at least once a year. Any modifications to products should require an updated report. That doesn't seem crazy.
As long as it's not wrapped up in the form of a PMTA
Crazy
that
to me.
costs a bajillion
Right,
dollars.
as long as the cost, yeah, exactly. As long as it's cost effective for a
Right.
company to stay in business and report to regulatory agencies at least once a year, that's not unreasonable to me.
yeah.
Here's where everything gets unreasonable. to ban all activities related to the commercial marketing of electronic nicotine delivery systems, electronic non-nicotine delivery systems, and heated tobacco products, including social media and through organizations funded by and associated with the tobacco industry. So no marketing anywhere. They're going to police social media. I mean, these are just recommendations, right? These aren't laws. This isn't going to be a law. This isn't guaranteed that they're going to ban commercial marketing. But this to me seems like just crazy out of touch. Like the World Health Organization has never used social media, doesn't understand how it works, doesn't understand organic growth, doesn't understand, boosted posts, doesn't understand algorithms, doesn't understand, it's just no social media. It's like, you don't even know what that means, do you? You don't. When was the last time you were on Snapchat, Tedros?
Yeah, right.
When was the last time you were on? And it's like Greg Conley posted that thing on Twitter recently about, vape dealers are turning to TikTok to sell directly to their customers. Right. And I was like, yeah, because there's a demand for it.
It's how the illicit market works.
That's how the illicit market works. Welcome to the illicit market. I do card people. Mm-hmm. I personally card people. I keep a picture of everybody I've ever sent anything to. I have a picture of your driver's license on my computer. I keep it. So later in the future, when the FDA comes to me and goes, in 2017, did you send a bottle of e-liquid to New York to this person? And I go, yep, here's his driver's license. I checked his ID. Anyway. But yeah, the black market doesn't check IDs. Don't remember where I was. Oh yeah, marketing. Yeah, commercial marketing. Sure, like commercials on television or radio, like paid commercial. But then even in 2021, you get into this gray area of sponsored posts, and
brand ambassadors.
Brand ambassadors, and influencers get so sneaky with sneaking those sponsors into their things that sometimes you don't even, it's like, I'll see a guy on Instagram with the coldest water bottle and I'm like, you're definitely sponsored by them 100%. But here you are just casually using your coldest water bottle, promoting your brand, but it seems really organic because it doesn't feel like an ad. Interesting. Anyway. To prohibit electronic nicotine delivery systems and electronic non-nicotine delivery systems. Why the non-nicotine delivery systems? What the hell even is that? Is
that to prevent short fills and things like that? Is that what they're trying to do?
I feels like that. It feels like it's meant to. I think they just want all of vaping, regardless of if there's nicotine in it. I think this is the same thing as the FDA saying that zero nicotine e-liquids are still tobacco products. I think that's why they're making this non-nicotine delivery systems. Like, why does the World Health Organization care about a non-nicotine delivery system? I don't know. I don't get it. That terminology makes no sense to me. Prohibit electronic nicotine delivery systems and electronic non-nicotine delivery systems over which the user can control device features and liquid ingredients, i.e., open systems. There it is. The World Health Organization is urging every government worldwide to prohibit open systems where you can control things and you can control the device and you can control your voltage. That's bad for the World Health Organization. You want to put your own liquid in here? Not allowed. You want to build a coil? Nope. World Health Organization now is firmly against open systems. This is the first time I've ever seen them mention an open system. They always mention e-cigs or pods or I don't know, whatever they use. Oh, it can be disguised as a flash drive. But this is the first time I've heard them mention by name open systems. That's depressing to me. And that shows me that they know what these are. You can't...
Or some U.S. influences creeping in.
Or some U.S. influences creeping in. Open systems. We're the only ones that call them open systems. I don't know. Scott Gottlieb called them open systems, I guess, a couple of times. That is a pretty USA term, though, isn't it? Open systems.
I think it's kind of, USA centric. Not to say it hasn't, like, moved around, but.
Oh, it gets even better than this. These last two are just spectacular. They go one into each other. To prohibit, World Health Organization, to prohibit the sale of electronic nicotine delivery systems that have a higher abuse liability than conventional cigarettes. For example, by restricting the emission rate or flux of nicotine, and to prohibit the addition of pharmacologically active substances in jurisdictions where they are legal, other than nicotine, in electronic nicotine delivery systems. So I could hear your eyes rolling, such as cannabis and tetrahydrocannabinol, to electronic nicotine delivery systems and electronic non-nicotine delivery systems.
So this is about weed? Like, stay in your lane. This is supposed to be about tobacco. Why the hell are you talking about weed?
I don't know. But they're suggesting that governments around the world ban any electronic nicotine delivery system that has a higher abuse liability. For example, by restricting the emission rate or flux of nicotine.
Okay, well, that doesn't really make sense. Because your nicotine doesn't fluctuate in your device. It's the liquid that you put in it, and then that's what you're vaping.
It will,
It's not like you can, you can get more, like, let's say you turn your wattage up, you're going to get a bigger cloud, and that's going to result in more, but the level doesn't change. So emissions, I understand the science behind that statement, but flux, what are you talking about?
Here's the thing.
Have you ever used one?
I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat for a second, and I know a lot of people bring this up, and I know Matt told us not to use this as like an advocacy speaking point. But what possible future product from Bill and Melinda Gates and Bloomberg controls the flux of nicotine?
But they said not to allow that, right?
No. This is their example of how to do that. Restricting the emissions rate or flux of nicotine. That is custom tailored for a certain product. Am I wrong?
Or a category of products.
Or a category of products.
I mean, it could be Bloomberg. It could be other firm. I mean, I agree with Matt. We shouldn't get too crazy.
We shouldn't get too crazy. I know, but
it definitely could refer to a category of products, that some pharma companies might be interested in.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, that is probably the more rational look at it. When I read that sentence, I instantly went, oh, the hail is going to control your nicotine intake.
Right.
So, I mean, come on. And then lastly, prohibit the addition of THC in electronic nicotine delivery systems and electronic non-nicotine delivery systems.
What are you doing?
THC?
Mind's business.
Tobacco control? Let's just, that's a weird thing to say about tobacco control. Is the last thing you mention is THC.
That doesn't fit. Like, there is no proven evidence that harms from cigarettes have anything, like, I'm not even aware of any, like, proven harms of cannabis per se. Like, I'm not
it's not great
aware.
for you.
Obviously, combustion in any form is not amazing for your body and your lungs. But, like, vaping THC, I'm not aware of any harms that have been documented. So, like, why are you including that in tobacco? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. What are you doing? Right. And two, THC doesn't and will never work with an electronic cigarette.
No. Some of the hardware may be cross-compatible.
The threading, maybe.
Right.
The threading, right? But you can't put distillate in a ether RTA.
No.
It just won't work.
No.
This seems completely arbitrary and superfluous, especially in the context of tobacco control, right? It's like Okay, I'm trying to think of a bad analogy. If the World Health Organization, the World Vehicle Organization, came out with a guidance that was saying we need to make it illegal to put diesel in a regular engine. That's basically the same thing. It won't work in there. So why are you making it illegal? THC won't work in these. So why are you making it? Why are you even jumping on the THC bandwagon?
Why are we even talking about
Why
that?
are we even talking about this? Crazy. So there you go. That's the World Health Organization's guidance recommendations for global tobacco control. Seems completely unreasonable.
And marijuana.
What?
And marijuana.
Yeah, and apparently THC kind of there, just thrown at the end. It's like nobody asked, but the World Health Organization said, no, well, we need to ban THC. People using THC in electronic nicotine delivery systems. And see, I think that's why they included electronic non-nicotine delivery systems.
Yeah, now that makes more sense.
Now it kind of makes sense.
Talking about cannabis. It doesn't even, read the room, World Health Organization. Everyone's moving towards legalization and decriminalization. Mm-hmm. Read the room. What are you doing? You sound like you're from 30 years ago.
Yes.
For madness? Is that where you're going next?
Bennett in the chat, you'll fuck up your device if you put hash on your RDA. It'll never hit the same way again. I tried when I first turned 21, completely destroyed my Witofo profile. Yeah.
I believe
completely will destroy it.
Don't do that. These are separate products. There may be some mods that are capable of firing, high enough for a nicotine vape device and also low enough for, an oil-based cartridge. Yeah. There might be some, but that's a mod, and it's not I have to buy special little mods for mine personally.
You do.
I don't really have much overlap there. I had one that I could do, multiple things with, but that was pretty much it.
I've never had. I mean, the threading, I buy the little whatever distillate pens, and they'll thread down onto a 510 threading, and that's that's where the similarities end. Alternatively, you can't take an empty THC dab cart pen and fill it up with e-liquid. It's also not going to work.
No, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work either way. Well, good on you, World Health Organization. At least you did your due diligence and went after THC. Man, that's just so weird to me. Anyway, I'll post a link down in the description to where you can, if you want to, read the World Health Organization's recommendations for tobacco control. This is something I have bookmarked, so if you guys ever want it, hit me up. I'll send it to you. I'll send you this whole PDF. It's not much, it's not much to read. How much time do we have left?
It's 4:30.
4:30? Okay. We got a little bit of time. I had 2 more things that I really wanted to mention. I guess we'll end with talking about the United Kingdom. Shout out to Vape and Vic in the chat. I see you there, boy. Appreciate you being here. Here's some interesting news that I came across as well from the Philippines. And so I'm kind of having to, with detectives, when they put a picture on the wall and then they tie the red string and then they tie it to this guy and then this is connected and then the red string goes over here and you kind of you see the whole picture. I've kind of been trying to do that in my head after reading this because I'm taking a lot of what I saw in You Don't Know Nicotine. I'm taking what I see on the World Health Organization website. I'm taking what I see on the Bloomberg Philanthropies website about what they're doing and where they're spending money with the World Health Organization in countries, in certain countries. It's real interesting. It's real interesting. And Bloomberg donation to the Philippines FDA may have violated U.S. law, says experts. I'm just going to leave this up here and we're going to read this whole thing because, man, I would like it if Bloomberg broke the law. Make an example. I appreciate you being here, Vape in Case. I see you there. Bloomberg's donation to the Philippines FDA may have violated U.S. law, says experts. An international public health policy experts called for a deeper investigation into the receipt of funds by the Philippines Food and Drug Administration from the anti-tobacco Bloomberg Foundation to determine whether it violated both Philippine and United States laws. That just makes me so happy. Dr. Joel Nitskin, a U.S. physician who was cross-trained in public administration, cited the need to shed light on the filing of a resolution by 2 Filipino congressmen last month calling for a congressional probe on the Philippines FDA's acceptance of foreign funding from Bloomberg in a possible breach of the 1987 Constitution and several laws. Professor David John Nutt of the Imperial College of London, who chairs drug science, said it would be interesting to review the Philippines FDA case to determine whether it violated any U.S. charity regulations, particularly if it illicitly interfered in the governance of another state. So this is like some pretty serious stuff. I want to see Bloomberg go down for this. We need to know how much money has been donated, both in dollars and as a percentage of the FDA budget. In addition, we need articulation from both donor and recipient ends as to the intended purpose. Intended purpose of this donation. If this is as illicit as it appears to be, the next step would be to challenge this in the Philippines courts and possibly in the American courts. That's the important part. The intended purpose of this donation. Why would Bloomberg be giving money, copious amounts of money, to a developing the Philippines FDA country? Why? What does it say on the World Health Organization website? Well, it says that they work with Bloomberg Philanthropies to reduce tobacco use in countries like
the Philippines.
Poland, Thailand, Turkey, Ukraine, Vietnam, Pakistan, Mexico. The Philippines. If you want to know what this money was intended for, you just have to go to the World Health Organization site and see that they work with Bloomberg Philanthropies to reduce tobacco use in your country. That's what's happening in the Philippines. So I'm going to skip this. There's a lot of representatives with Philippine names that I'm not going to try to pronounce. But it goes on to say, the call for an inquiry stemmed from the alleged admission by FDA officials during a public hearing on October 28th, 2020, for the drafting of general guidelines on the regulation of electronic nicotine delivery systems and heated tobacco products, that they received funding from the Union and Bloomberg Initiative, which are international private groups that advocate against all forms of tobacco products, including e-cigarettes and heated tobacco products. Health policy consultant Scott Ballin, which I just like his name. I wish my last name was Ballin. That is Ballin. Scott Ballin. That is a baller name. Come on. Okay. Health policy consultant Scott Ballin, who previously worked on U.S. FDA regulations of tobacco, described the issue as troubling, as it involves the direct contribution of funding or money to a regulatory agency. This is obviously a real concern. The overriding issue is indeed transparency and the requirements that a regulatory body follow guidelines in ensuring that policy-related decisions are made based on sound science and as part of a transparent regulatory process. If the tobacco industry had done this, there would have been outrage coming from public health entities, as we well know. Accepting money without disclosure, and which might be an ethical, if not illegal violation, is something else. I don't have or see enough information in the Philippines situation to see if the money was contributed for a specific purpose. That said, the fact that this was done leaves a foul taste in the mouth. Watch out, Bloomberg. Watch out, Bloomberg. So we know where this money came from. We know what this money was being used for.
Oh,
right?
Of course. He's not shy.
I feel like
about
that's
it.
real transparent. Yeah, he's not. Yeah, you're right. He's not shy about it. He's
not
publicly
shy about it, but he just thinks he's immune to these things because he thinks he's on the right side of it.
Right,
basically.
right. Yes, he believes he's in the right. He's like, I'm cool with breaking some quick international laws in order to ban vaping in the Philippines. That's what I intended to do. That's what this money was used for. He's broadcast it all over the place. It was in You Don't Know Nicotine. It's on the World Health Organization website. It's on the Bloomberg Philanthropies website. They just say, yeah, we give a lot of money to tobacco prohibitionists. I mean, not in those exact words, but they cop to it.
Right.
I would like to see Bloomberg just go down for this. That would be great. Bit more than a slap on the wrist. I feel like,
and I like that they said, like, if this had been tobacco companies doing this, people would have lost their minds.
Yes, the world would have exploded. Are you kidding me? Public health would have been just raging, chomping at the bit to take down big tobacco. But Bloomberg does it, and honestly, it just squeaked under the radar. I had to track this down from a newspaper in the Philippines to get this information.
Yep.
Didn't hear anything about it. Not in the United States anyway. But hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully Bloomberg broke a bunch of international laws and U.S. charity laws. It's like, I don't want the guy to, maybe I want him to go to prison. I don't know, take some of his money away. Fine him or something. Fine the guy. So that's what's going on with Bloomberg. He might have broken international laws, and I think that's cool. And I especially think it's cool because all he was trying to do is stop vaping in the Philippines. That's all he was trying to do. And the Philippines has a good vaping community there. I mean, there were years and years where everything high-end mech mods was coming out of the Philippines. It's like if you had a high-end mech, probably came from the Philippines.
Yep.
Same, RDAs and stuff coming out of the Philippines for years too. It's interesting to see what Bloomberg is going to try to accomplish over there and try to get away with over there. Now, dang, we have more time than I thought. We're going to be right on time. I guess the last thing I wanted to mention here today on Tuesday Bro News Day, and I appreciate you guys being here. I know there was 2 super chats that I missed during the stream. Baby Doe, glad to see you back here, brother man. Vaping with Vic, now you see why the UK PHE and Royal College have been mostly ignoring the World Shill Organization when it comes to e-cigs. Yes, in fact, the United Kingdom gives very little money to the World Health Organization. The United States mostly funds the World Health Organization. And then it's like the UK, it's like, we'll pay our dues to be a part of it, but we're not really going to listen to anything that you have to say about tobacco control. And that's the right step to take, United Kingdom. Speaking of the United Kingdom, I guess this is where we're going to land. So Vic's here. He had a video about this. I've seen it on a few different places. Vaporound Magazine has posted about it as well, but there is some, pardon me. Let me get to the correct tweet here. There we go. Here's the correct tweet. Can you see this? Yeah, there we go. I got one from Dean the Vapin' Biker tweeted this at me, and he one of 3. Grim Green, I'm no expert, obviously. However, this bill, and he linked to it, seems to want to remove vaping products from the current regulation, which people seem to be excited about. But it does not specify actions as far as I can see, which would mean greater and more restrictive regulations in an upcoming bill and considerably more confusion for sellers and buyers. It obviously could mean things get better, but I'm unaware of any proof in that respect, and we have little track record to assume vaping will be seen more acceptable by the public or government. If anyone knows anything different, I would very much appreciate any links to official documents. But he has the document right there. He doesn't need any other. He doesn't need any other links. And what I gathered from reading this link and watching Vic's video is that they are removing vapor products from the tobacco regulations in Europe and the United Kingdom. I believe that's what's happening. TPD, no longer covers vapor products, but they removed vaping products from the TPD, and there's nothing in place right now that is going to take the place of TPD. I think they're waiting on new like vape exclusive regulations like that are just for vaping.
Now, is this something they're trying to do or something they've already done?
I think this is something that it's inevitability. It's an inevitable thing. It's like this bill, if it passes, will remove vaping from the Tobacco Products Directive, from the TPD regulations, which could be a really, really good thing. You could, in the UK, you guys could get rid of that 2 mil tank capacity limit. I don't see them getting rid of the nicotine cap necessarily in the United Kingdom, but that could be a thing. It could be good things.
People in chat are saying it's just the UK, not Europe.
Okay, it's just the UK. Just the UK, not Europe. It's just the UK that's completely deregulated. Wow. Go UK. Damn, that's good. Wow. I'm really excited about that. And I think that's kick-ass. Completely deregulated. I mean, they have to have some regulations in place, right, Richie? They have to have... The nicotine cap is still in place, I'm assuming. The marketing regulations are still in place, I'm assuming. Yeah, so it's just the UK, Nick. We left the EU. TPD is EU.
Nick. We left the EU. TPD is EU. TRPR is the UK.
TRPR is the UK. Okay, so I don't know how the British people feel about Brexit, but I think that you dodged a bullet with Brexit. Because I have some news here building off of this deregulation of the TPD. Yeah, I'll go with you, Hooked on Funk. Let's go to the UK. Actually, scrap that. Let's all go to New Zealand. It's way more fun there. We'll hang out with Breeze Tones. I mean, he's in Australia. Anyway, I have some news here from Vape Around magazine. And thank you, Vic, for clarifying that the UK is a separate EU regulatory, different regulations for the EU than in the UK. I appreciate that because I was terrified for the UK for one hot second because I got this post from Vape Around served to me. Leaked European Commission proposal puts vaping under threat. And apparently this is just for the EU, not for the UK. But it says here, the proposed document was leaked to the press prior to the scheduled launch on February 3rd. I guess I'll start at the top. According to leaked reports, the European Commission are soon to consider a proposal to ban flavors and vaping in public places as part of their Beating Cancer plan. The proposed document was leaked to the press prior to the scheduled launch on February 3rd. In addition, the European Commission are suspect to increase taxation on all novel tobacco products. To discover more about this breaking news, head over to the link in our bio. You don't need to. It's basically just this Instagram post. We are intrigued to hear your thoughts and let us on this. Let us know what you think in the comments. That phrase, novel tobacco product. We talked about this earlier too. Yeah, that's a purely U.S. phrase. I've not heard that used anywhere else in the world. But now, maybe, no, I can't speculate that. Maybe Bloomberg ran into too much pushback in the United Kingdom and just decided to go after the EU and get together with the European Commission. This is the first time in Europe I've ever seen the word novel tobacco products used, which is an damn near exclusive United States terminology. This is the first time in Europe I've ever seen the threat of a flavor ban. This is the first time in Europe I've ever seen the threat of excessive taxes coupled with a flavor ban. Generally, Europe's pretty on board with vaping. Most everybody in the EU, especially in the UK, but they're very welcoming to vaping. And I don't know what suddenly changed and why now the European Commission is saying, well, Nope. We're going to tax novel tobacco products, and we're going to have a public flavor ban? Ban flavors and vaping in public places. Okay, so it's not a public flavor ban. It's a flavor ban, and a ban on vaping in public places as part of their Beat Cancer plan. This is just bizarre to me. Came out of left field. This is literally news as of like today. So I don't know what's going to happen in Europe. I don't know what's going to happen in the European Union. I guess this is something that we just have to keep an eye on. There's like this knee-jerk reaction part of me that wants to go, oh, this is Bloomberg, or like this is the World Health Organization or something, right? Like what would cause the European Commission to do like this 180? What would cause that? The only thing I can think of is money. Dire Thing says, Grim Green, the ants have moved on to the next market to wreck. Have they? I feel like they're still hanging out here. I feel like they're still hanging out here in vaping eternally. Eternally. So there you go. That's kind of an update, I guess, as to what's going on in the UK and Europe. If you're in the UK and you care about advocacy, Vic, who's in the chat today. Oh, train time.
Yeah, sorry.
Train time?
I'm fact-checking, and I'm reading an article from EU Reporter that's talking about this same thing, Europe's Beating Cancer plan.
Yeah, it seems so bizarre to me that they would call it the Beating Cancer plan when they're limiting what people use to stop smoking. It makes no sense to me. I'm sorry, European Commission. That makes no sense to me. Yeah, ban all flavors and beer will taste like water. Ultimately, I think the UK is going to be fine because, man, they have that Royal College. They have that, they have that science-based policy that makes a whole lot of sense. And I wish we could just get there. We've got a little bit of hope, I guess. New FDA, or not new FDA, new CDC commissioner, that could be a thing. Okay, yeah, that's it. I don't want to go over. I just don't want to go over today. So we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. I'm going to put two. Sure. I'm going to put two other links down in the description. One of them was going to be a story time with Grim Green. We were going to read from the Reason Foundation. Guy Bentley wrote an amazing piece for the Reason Foundation cataloging all of the failures of the Massachusetts flavored tobacco ban and how Massachusetts is just hemorrhaging money, costing them hundreds of millions of dollars, while everybody in Massachusetts just crosses state lines to get all of their tobacco products, all of their vaping products. It's a nice little just fuck you to Massachusetts. Look what you did. Look at your unintended consequences of your flavor ban. Here's what's happening. So I'm going to post that link down in the description. And I want to post this link down in the description. Look at this headline. Just real quick. Just look at this headline. What? Doctor's orders. Smokers should switch to e-cigarettes. CNBC. This is mainstream news right here. The only problem is it's from 2016. I saw that headline and my head exploded because I thought, oh, holy shit. In America, this is a thing. It's happening, and doctors are recommending vaping. Doctors' orders switch to e-cigarettes. And then I saw the date on it, and I was like, oh, 2016. Oh, okay. Do doctors not feel that way anymore? I would love to. What does this doctor say? Where's the doctor who is quoted in here? I want to hear what he still has to say about vaping. So I'm going to post those two links down in the description just because I think they're interesting reads. Grim Green, can I have a link to that EU thing? Yeah, sure can. I'll put a link in the description, and I'll put a link in the chat right. Yeah, I know. On CNBC as well. And then, that was honestly just an old bookmark that I had from ages ago. I have a bookmark on Chrome that's like, 8,000 bookmarks. And sometimes I just go back and see how vaping used to be back in 2016. Yeah, go easy on that keyboard, Danielle Jones.
I'm laughing at people in chat. Okay, you guys, I have the dopest keyboard on the planet. I paid
Because you're
a
gamer?
amount of money that I don't want to talk about for it. Okay, it's an expensive keyboard. If you could see it, it looks like a typewriter, looks like a typewriter, and it is mechanical, and it is clicky as shit, and I love clicky keyboards.
Dude.
So all y'all can just be quiet because I forgot to mute. I am sorry. I'm trying to be the fact checker, but then I also know I have a loud keyboard. So I'm like, I have to mute while I fact check so that it doesn't like overpower. Click, 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 click.
That's okay. I like the clicky sounds of the keyboard. It makes me feel like I'm working in like an office.
It makes me feel like I'm like an investigative journalist.
Right.
Like dig into the bottom of
it. I'm in a search for the truth, you know. All right. Well, before we wrap this up, let me ask you, Danielle, are there any like calls to actions right now that we should be doing from CASA?
I know that there were some new ones that came out.
There was the two like North Dakota ones.
Yes, there's some North Dakota stuff. Let me just pull up. If anybody's interested, you can always go to the Get Involved State and Local page and see all the calls to action on CASA's website.
Yeah.
So 2 out of North Dakota. We've got one going on in Kansas. We've got Maryland. We've got Elk Grove, California.
Yeah.
Those are the most recent ones.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Elk Grove, California one has passed. I think that ordinance passed. I don't know about Maryland. I don't know about Kansas. I sent the Kansas one to everybody that I can think of in Kansas that I know. But the North Dakota one is really, really bad. These 2 bills in North Dakota are a combination vapor tax / vape mail ban, but for all
it's an
online sales ban and a gigantic vapor tax in North Dakota, which North Dakota just out of the blue, like, hey, we're going to fuck up vaping now. After years of who heard from North Dakota ever in the last decade about vaping?
We forgot about you, North Dakota.
They're just sailing right along. It's like, whatever, North Dakota, they're minding their own business and they're just cruising right along. And now it's like, nope. Now we're going to tax vaping and now we're going to ban online sales. So there are call to actions for those. Addie Tooney, I appreciate you throwing that in the chat. But I'll have specific links to the calls to actions down in the description below. And I think that's where we're going to end it today. You guys, we had a long show, a lot of news. The only good thing I think I read today was that Bloomberg might be illegally sending money to the FDA in the Philippines. And that's the best news I've heard all day.
Breaking the law, breaking the law.
Breaking the law. I really hope he did. I really hope he broke the law and gets caught.
I
want someone to look into this. It would be so sweet. It would be so just
somebody needs to
delicious.
Slap him legally.
Legally slap him, yes. Yeah. Legally slap the man.
I don't advocate for personal injury or harm.
No physical violence. Of course not. No physical violence. But legally, just throw the book at Bloomberg. Vermont flavor ban as well. Is there a Vermont flavor ban as well?
I know not on CASA. There are a couple other things going on in different states that CASA has not put out calls to action for yet.
Okay.
And that's typically because, Alex is working with state orgs in that state. And they're, asking him to, hold off.
Sure.
Because you guys, what you have to understand about calls to action is that when you're working with like the general public and vapors and you put something out, you want to time it precisely, right? Because if you put it out here and then, the vapors like blow their load on, putting out all the calls to action, right? And then we actually need a push later, it's a little bit harder to get, so it has to be timed precisely for when it's most needed, if that makes sense. Like when the lawmakers really need to hear from you.
Yes.
Because it happens here and then we actually need it here.
Yeah.
Or we needed it here, but then it happens here. Like there's some mishmash. So sometimes there are things that are going on. Alex always gets messages. You guys can always feel free to, email CASA and ask them like, are you aware of this thing? Chances are we are, always do it because we may not know, but chances are we are aware of it and we're working with an organization in that state who's saying like, hang on, we're talking to lawmakers or, we're trying to figure this out or, go to our state organization, stuff like that. So just be aware of that.
Yeah. It's like the when we, like melting the White House phone lines, it's like a timed, coordinated.
We need to do that, at a certain,
here it is.
Right.
There's all the calls to actions.
And we recognize that boots on the ground oftentimes, is more familiar with the situation, than, let's say, people not in that state, for example,
Yeah.
So there is, when state organizations are there, we are working with them. So you can always message CASAA either on Facebook or, whatever, send an email, anything to ask about it. But, we do try to defer to the state orgs on what they, feel is going to be the most effective thing.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Gotta love CASAA. Sorry, I did have some other super chats. I didn't forget about you, FacTube. The ants are concerned about us consuming an allegedly flammable liquid. Why is hard liquor, i.e. Everclear, legal? Hey, you're making a lot of really great rational points that I don't think that any lawmakers or World Health Organization is going to be concerned by at this point, because liquor and beer are just socially accepted, and you're never going to change that. They just are. It was an uphill battle getting there, right?
Yep.
Prohibition and the temperance movement that started before that, which the temperance movement is basically just, that's PAVE. That's the modern day temperance movement, is PAVE and, expose tobacco. It's just moralistic nonsense. But it took a while. It's socially acceptable. And what we need to do is get to the point where, I know it seems crazy, but we need to get to the point where recreational nicotine consumption is just a socially accepted thing. How do you get your nicotine? You either smoke it the worst way possible, or you vape it the best way possible, or you heat it the other way, or you snooze it, or you pouch it, or you do whatever. But it's just nicotine. That's it. It's just nicotine. Kevin Yum. Oh, that's very gracious of you. Much love, guys. Keep fighting the good fight. England is a shining beacon to vapors around the world. Also, how the hell do you post fan videos on the Grim site? Next, Danielle's a vape goddess, and we will prevail. Damn. All that stuff is true. As far as posting fan videos, I know. Did you get all blush? You need to turn your camera off? Kevin, just send me a video. If you want to post, email it to me. Email me a video, and then I'll put it on the vlog. I promise, Kevin. I will. Email it to me, nick@grimgreen.com. Appreciate that, Kevin. And I appreciate you guys all coming out here. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but I feel it's the most critical thing that we can possibly be doing, is discussing the news, discussing advocacy, discussing strategy and calls to actions and science and truth, and getting our message out there. This is the hill I chose to die on for some reason, so I will fight till I'm in the ground for your access to less harmful alternatives. Yeah? Sound good? All right. That's the deal I'm making with you guys, okay? That's the deal. So thank you guys for joining us here for another TBN. I'll have links all smattered throughout that description down there that you can click, read, share, read them again, click them again, share them again. I don't know. Do all the things. So
rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. So remember, you guys, stay informed, stay active, be the best advocates that you can be. Make us proud. Make vapors proud, I want to give a shout out to Hooked on Funk, who's in the chat, and Disco Potato. They have a great new stream that they're doing called the 510 Connection. It's just a lot of fun. They get in there with the news and advocacy too, and that just makes me so proud and so happy. But if you want just a fun time, new vape stream, check out the 510 Connection. They're a lot of fun. Hooked on Funk. You and Disco Potato are doing great things over there. Anyway, now we'll wrap this up. Did you have any parting words, Danielle, you want to leave anybody with?
I like the way that you end it.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Here's what we'll say. Thank you guys so much for being here. Remember that no matter what anybody tells you, vaping is at least 95% less harmful, maybe more, less harmful than burning deadly combustible tobacco cigarettes and inhaling burning hot carcinogen filled acrid smoke. So yeah, no matter what's in your hands, you guys, let's keep on vaping. Be excellent to each other, everybody. Peace out.